Hey guys, so I just wanted to give you a quick breakdown of this video. So in the beginning, I'll go through the products, I'll give you my first impressions, there'll be swatches of a lot of the color products, then we'll go through a product demo where I put the products on, then we'll check in a little bit later on to see how they performed, and then at the end of the video, I'll have swatches of the foundations and we'll kind of talk through things with my final first impressions, so keep watching! Hey guys, welcome back to the Style and Beauty Doctor on YouTube. And you know what's funny? I just realized that I'm going to be talking about the Covergirl Full Spectrum collection, which used to be called the Queen collection. And I'm looking quite Queen Nefertiti. I guess you can kind of say this is my way of paying homage to the original collection. But anyway, Covergirl sent over a pretty heavy box filled with new items from what is called the Full Spectrum collection. So let us go through this makeup. So I guess we'll just start with lips because it's just like right here. And there's a card here with lips. So we'll talk about the lip products. So I don't know that I'm loving the Full Spectrum name, but I do understand why they had to update it and not have Queen collection. I vaguely remember Covergirl Queen coming out when I was a kid. Oh, it began in 2006? Why do I remember being a little girl? That was 2006? Why do I remember being a little girl? I was not a little girl in 2006. So I don't know why I thought I was a little girl. I guess I thought I was a little girl because I remember Queen Latifah, you know, being the rapper that she was back in the day when I was a little girl, but, you know, that came later. So I do understand why they might have wanted to revamp the Queen collection and call it something different. One, maybe their contract with Queen Latifah ran out. Two, maybe because Queen Latifah is older in age now. She's not old. I'm not saying she's old, but she's older in age. And it's funny because, full disclosure, I sat in a couple of consultations with CoverGirl when they were, you know, trying to revamp their line. But I remember sitting with people, with other influencers that were like, you know, 24, 25. And a lot of them were like, Queen Latifah's old. I'm like, Queen Latifah is not old. They were like, no, she's like in her 50s. I was like, no, girl. Queen Latifah is not in her 50s yet. Just yet. So they Googled it. They figured it out. They was like, oh my God, she's my mom's age. And I was like, oh. So that made me realize, like, okay, now I probably get why, you know, another reason why they might have revamped it. But Full Spectrum, I'm not sure on the name, but who cares what I think? All right, so on first look at some of these colors. Now I think these are just a few colors, and these look fun. And I would have to say kudos on, these are some matte gloss, what is this? Matte Idol, so I'm guessing these are liquid mattes. Then there's some gloss Idol, so these are glosses, really pretty. Some lipsticks, one of them is called Mad Money. That's pretty. That's pretty funny. I'll do arm swatches. I'm not gonna swatch all of these on my lips because, oh God. Like, I'm just thinking of, like, in the past when I used to do, like, the whole collection swatching on my lips and my lips would just be burning. But I would have to say that you know, upon just looking at these, I'm like, okay, I can see, you know, fresh, I can see modern, because sadly, when you have some of these brands that are geared towards women of color that have been around for a while, a lot of them stick to like that, you know, I know 90s is cool because 90s is vintage. I can understand like 90s stuff is like cool because it's nostalgic and it's back in fashion and stuff like that. But aesthetic-wise, there were some things that if, you know, you was wearing that makeup in 96 and you trying to wear that in 2019, like, honey child, it's time to put that away. So I'm glad that there's this revamp, that it's fresh, it's new, it's young. It makes me think of like the young, poppin', you know, preteens, teens, and, you know, people in their like early 20s coming up. Now, that's another thing too that kind of confuses me. I can't remember if I asked them this. I'm always wondering who is CoverGirl's target market, because CoverGirls range in age from, you know, the young to, you know, the more mature. So I'm always like, who's CoverGirl's, like, who's their girl? Who's their lady? Who's their woman? But anyway, let's read a little bit about what these lips are. So there's a Cool Idol satin lipstick. So high coverage lipstick that delivers a high color satin finish for a bold, beautiful feel and a vibrant stain touch to perfect the pout of a luxe evening look. It ranges in price from $6.92 to $9.49. It's going to depend on where you live, where you buy it from, yada yada. Then you have the Gloss Idol Moisturizing Lip Gloss. Those are these. Luscious high shine lips, perfect for any occasion, giving you perfect addition to your luxe look with a soft moisturizing finish and feel. Available in 14 shades. So there's only these 3 shades here. These range in price from $6.92 to $9.49. Then you have the Matte Idol Liquid Lipstick. These are high impact lip color, providing 24-hour rich color coverage with a lightweight feel and vegan friendly formula. Available in 12 shades. They sent these 3. These also range in price from $6.92 to $9.49. Okay, now let's go through eyes. Now I did see an ad on the Shade Room for the CoverGirl Full Spectrum, and it had some of the eyeshadows, and the picture that was used, I was just like, wasn't really feeling the palettes. But now that I have them in person, let's see if that is still a similar sentiment. I have never been a fan of CoverGirl eyeshadows, but the CoverGirl Queen Collection shadows, especially the ones that came in the single pot, were so pigmented, so amazing, and I always used to wonder why CoverGirl didn't just take the Queen shadows and make, you know, whatever they did with the Queen shadows to make them so amazing and use those in their regular ones. These are the Full Spectrum So Saturated eyeshadow palettes. First, let's get a description. Color-rich eyeshadow palette with 8 vibrant shades designed to vividly pop against medium to deep skin tones, given an easy-to-use kaleidoscope of colors. Available in 4 unique color-popping palette styles. Each palette offers rich color payout in 3 different finishes: matte, shimmer, and metallic. And then they're range in price from $9.96 to $13.49. I'm loving the colors so far. These definitely look better in person than that ad I saw in Shade Room. I don't know what was up with that picture. I was like, why do they look like that? And then you have these all-day eyeliners, which color enhancing and deep shade precision. This all-day eyeliner gives added definition to eyeshadow and style to let you go from day to night with one defining makeup look. Available in 6 shades, ranging in price from $6.92 to $9.49. Okay. CoverGirl Queen always had some amazing liners, like waterproof, vivid color. I think, what was it called? Vivid liquid, no, not liquid. Vivid Last, something like that. I expect these to be just as amazing. And then now we are finally able to move on to face. There's face. We have a Contour and Correct palette. So this just comes in this one palette. So rather than like being like a light, medium, deep, there's just one, and then you can mix and match whatever colors. For some people, mixing and having all of these colors, we're able to mix and match sometimes helps some people. Sometimes people prefer that. Some people prefer just to have the ones that are close to their skin tone so they don't have as many. But we'll see how this works. There are the Sculpt Expert multi-use cheek palettes. So there's these 3. This one is Bronze Flame. Okay, I wonder if this bronze here is what they're trying to pass off as the new bronzer. I don't have mine. I don't even know where it is, or if someone has it. But the Ebony Bronze is a lot darker and warmer than this shade. And while it does have some shimmer, it doesn't have as much as this one does. This Blush Touch. It looks ashy on the camera, but it's not ashy in person. Rose Rush. There's a Matte Ambition Skin Primer. So this, you prep skin with an invisible SPF layer. Love that. It has an SPF of 20. That extends the wear of makeup and provides hours of oil control for a shine-free finished look. So this ranges in price from $9.96 to $11.49. So these are the All Day Idol Brightening Concealers. And I'm a little confused because these look quite light. Alright, maybe this might be a kind of open her up and see kind of thing, because these are the 2 deepest shades, and I'm like, y'all gotta be kidding. Unless these are like, wait, let me read it. This lightweight concealer brightens skin tone, hides dark circles, and delivers flawless all-day coverage. Available in six shades, ranging in price from $8.42 to $11.49. This can't be the deepest concealer shade, even if it was like highlighting. The first reason why they're disappointing to me is because they don't have the shade names on the packaging, and I've already taken these out of the packaging, so it's like, okay. Your guess is as good as mine as to what these shades are, but I will say that at first I was like, oh, maybe they only sent 6 of them and maybe there's more, but no, boo. It says it right there, available in 6 shades. So they're brightening concealer, so they're not meant to, you know, have the full spectrum, but this is the deepest shade, and even for me, I was just like, and I'm not the deepest. We know this. I don't like how some of the drugstore brands that are geared towards darker skin don't have like the really deep, rich, deepest shade is like kind of almost okay for me. And you know, as chocolate as I am, we know that there are people that are way more richer and chocolatier. Deeper in color than I am, like by far a lot deeper in color than I am. And I hate that those lines never include, like you'll have some, like Black Opal will have some of the deeper shades, but I'm like, for a line that's supposedly for women of color, I'm very disappointed in those concealer shades. But that's first impressions. Well, I can't even say that's first impressions because I know what concealers are supposed to look like, so yikes. Okay, so now the Matte Ambition, what is this? Okay, so there's a Matte Ambition All Day Powder Foundation. These guys. Okay, this is Deep Cool 4. That's the deepest shade. I'm a little disappointed. You know, this is a line that's supposed to be for women of color. And, you know, while I'm happy that there are 11, how many shades are here? 12 shades. This is a powder foundation. There's 12 shades in the powder foundation. And yes, not everyone is going to need, like a couple of these shades can work for different, you know, a number of different skin tones. But for this to be the deepest one, see, I always think, I'm going to do some B-roll shots with these so that it's easier to see. But for this to be the deepest shade in a line that's made for women of color, I'm a little disappointed, you know? Then, now CoverGirl has in the CoverGirl classic line, main line, whatever line, regular line, I don't know what they want to call it. But they have a foundation that comes in 40 shades, but they also have one for women of color. And these come in 20 shades. Now, for there to be 20 shades in a line that's for women of color, that's amazing. I like that number. But this is the Matte Ambition All Day Shine Free Foundation. Let's read about it. It's a new transfer resistant. It can still transfer. Long wear formula with buildable coverage to hide pores, imperfections, and keep shine controlled all day. Offers a natural matte finish using less than 5% mattifying powders to help absorb oil and blur pores. Available in 20 shades. Ranges in price from $9.96 to $13.39. I'm seeing a lot of lighter shades. And this is not like that frosted glass. This is like glass. So, let's see. But then again, I'm looking at this out of order. Yeah. Now, I'm pulling out the deeper shades because I'm a deeper shade, and for the 10 plus years that I've done my blog, I've focused on darker shades, but I do feel that there is a need. I'm going to go through the lighter shades too. I do realize that there's not enough undertones, and a lot of brands aren't doing a great job if you're a woman of color and you have lighter skin, because what happens is you may find some shades that are the right undertone, the right amount of yellow or golden or peach or pink or whatever your undertones are, but then the shade will be too light. Or you'll find something that's the right depth and then the undertones are like super pink or it's just like so off. Alright, so I'm going to hold off on my thoughts on the deeper ones just because the way I have it set up right now. So later in the video I'll talk about, because I want to swatch them and see, because these are the darkest ones and I'm kind of like, these are the darkest ones. But let me swatch them and all that other stuff so that I'm not making a judgment that isn't true, you know? So it makes it a little bit easier to find your shade because they don't have names like coffee, mahogany, chocolate. Names like deep golden, and then there's a number that denotes, you know, how deep the shade is. So there's like deep golden 1, deep golden 2, deep golden 3, deep cool 2, deep cool 3, tan cool, deep neutral 2. So I'm gonna look for deep neutral 2. Looks like a good shade for me. Is there a deep neutral 3? There does not appear to be a deep neutral 3. All right, so I'm thinking it's either deep neutral 2 or it's nothing at all. So I'm gonna figure out my shades, figure out what colors I'm gonna be using in eyeshadow and stuff like that, and we'll do a look, okay? Okay, so one thing that's great about the foundation is that you can twist it to lock it. So it was already locked when I opened it. I love the packaging though. This packaging looks so amazing to me. I like this kind of packaging. All right, so I've picked out the colors that I want to use for my look. I'm going to be using the Matte Ambition in Deep Neutral 2. And to stay, I guess, it looks a little light to me, but it's the same Deep Neutral 2, so they would know better than I would, I guess. I don't know. For face, I'm going to use the concealer palette. I'm also going to give this concealer a whirl because you know I got the discoloration there. Then I'm going to use a combination of the Posh palette and the Reverence palette because I see some really pretty colors in both. I'm looking at this and this looks like way lighter and frostier than what I would like in a blush, but I'll give it a try. And I'll try the primer. And I will try this lip gloss. There's a new CoverGirl mascara, the Exhibitionist. There's one that comes in waterproof. I'm not going to use the waterproof one, so I'll put that away. And I'll just use the CoverGirl Exhibitionist mascara. CoverGirl makes some amazing mascaras, but the last maybe like 2 that I've tried, I didn't love. So I'm hoping that this one is carrying on the tradition of CoverGirl having great mascaras. Oh, the primer is very like milky. It's not silicone. It feels more like a facial lotion. And then when you massage it into the skin, you do kind of feel like the mattifying action going on. Like as you rub it in, it kind of... Am I supposed to rub it in? Let me make sure I'm not supposed to rub it in. Does it say to rub it in or pat? It says to shake well. It doesn't say. It doesn't say, so I guess I'm good for rubbing it in. Okay, I rubbed it in here. Let's see. I'll pat it in other places to see if that is any different. I like the feel of the primer. You can dab it in, but I feel like that takes too long. I ain't got that kind of time. It has a nice feel to it. It doesn't feel like it's going to mattify. But you know, sometimes, you know, you mattify too much. You wind up drying out your skin, and then your skin's like, oh my God, what's happening? And it produces more oil. You don't want that. So maybe that's a good thing. That looks like a really good match. Okay, CoverGirl. I like this color match. So this is not giving me a ton of coverage because I can still see discoloration underneath. Let's see, does it say it's full coverage? Natural matte finish. Does it say anything about coverage? It doesn't say anything about coverage. Oh, buildable coverage. So you can add a little bit more if you need a little bit more coverage, which is kind of cool because then some days you need a little bit more coverage, some days you don't. So I'm going to go in with the powder and we're going to set. Oh, before I even set, I forgot to put on this concealer. So this is the All Day Idol Brightening Concealer. What shade is this? I'm guessing this is Deep Cool. I don't know what happened to the name on there. That's going to be a mess when if I'm doing swatches of the other concealers and the name comes off. See, like this is the... Because I was looking for a concealer that would be closer to my skin tone. To, you know, because I usually put that on to cover up the darkness underneath there. take that off. So yeah, I'm not feeling the brightening concealer, not feeling the color. It might have been nice, but I'm just not feeling the color. So what's a little bit, I'm gonna use this instead. With these palettes, is like you gotta figure out, okay, what's my shade, and if my shade isn't in there, I gotta mix it up. I'm gonna go with this one here. It feels a lot like the Glossier Stretch Concealer. I do like how it covers. That's nice. I should have used a brush. My hand's gonna get concealer all over the place. Okay, now we will set with the Matte Ambition. Oh, I like how the powder, there's a slight scent to the products. Almost like a slight, like, baby powder scent. Just very slight, nothing like overpowering. It's nice, actually. I like it a little bit. Okay, there's that with the powder. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with this palette. I'm not using a primer just because I want to see how this works initially without a primer. In real life, I almost always use primer, but when I'm testing, I like to kind of see like, how does it work without a primer? Because that's always pretty great. So I'm just taking this like brownie red shade right there, and I'm just gonna sweep that in the crease. I like the way that that looks, like this nice reddish brown. I was looking for more of like a eggplant shade versus a dark brown because I like how that looks to deepen my crease better, and I thought maybe this one would have that, but this one has shimmer. Even though it has shimmer in it, let's see. This one right here. Oh, nice. The shimmer in it is very slight. This is just this shade right here. The shadows feel good so far. Hopefully this is a pretty pink on. Oh, that's nice. A little frosty. I feel like drugstores make some frosty eyeshadow palettes. Lord. Frosty and shiny. I'd be like, yo, man. But I'm glad these have like the matte shades in there. Full Spectrum liner. This is the Blackest Black. It's very pointy. This is a retractable liner. Probably might want to kind of dull it a little bit so you're not like poking your eye. The top I'll do off camera so that I can see what I'm doing. Okay, this is okay. I still prefer my Urban Decay Perversion liner because it's a much darker black, and I do prefer the pencil as opposed to the retractable, just because the pencil's just, you know, it's just a little bit more, it's a little thicker. Prefer that. Then we'll go in with the Exhibitionist mascara. This is nice. Not clumpy. Separates the lashes really nice. Okay, let's try to go in and highlight and contour. I'm gonna mix these two shades for my highlight. Not bad. The texture feels really smooth. Not as thick as my beloved Bobbi Brown Creamy Concealer, but still nice. And I'm just using the deepest shade to contour. Blends out nicely. Okay, so then I'm going to set my highlight and contour. So I'm going to set it with Tan Golden, the highlight with Tan Golden, and the contour Deep Cool 4. Deep Cool 4 is the deepest shade that they have, and it's looking kind of like it would be too light for me to contour with. We'll see. So I'm going to use this Glossier powder brush, which I forgot about using in my Glossier video, but now I'm going to use it now because it seems like it would be kind of nice to set my highlight with, you know? Ooh, it is. And here we go with deep, cool. Okay, nice. I just realized that they got rid of the Queen Collection bronzer. I knew that before going in, but I just realized, like, oh shoot, they really did get rid of the Queen Collection bronzer. I kind of want to put on a lash. But no, I don't want to waste the glue and the lashes and all that other stuff because they ain't really going nowhere. Okay, now I'm not sure about this blush, this cheek palette, but let me give her a whirl. It looks a little frosty, but looks can be deceiving. Ooh. Looks can be deceiving because that looked kind of light. But on the brush, I'm like, ooh, okay, let's hope it'll come like that on my cheeks. Ooh, not bad. The blush is a nicer color, brighter color than I thought it was going to be. I wish they had some matte blushes too, you know? I don't mind a metallic blush, but you know, for certain looks, prefer the matte blush. Because, you know, a matte blush and a line for, like, some bright matte blushers, you know, and a drugstore line for women of color. Okay, this isn't bad, but I just prefer, you know, to have a matte blush option. Especially since the eyeshadows are so metallic and frosty, you know? Let's try this. This one is Believe Me. Nope, not loving that. I'm gonna try one of the matte idols. Why not? Fortune. I mean, look, my lips are just kind of crusty right now, so tried my best. Normally I would put on a lash, but I'm gonna forego the lash. And I'll come back in a few hours and let you know how things are holding up and working out. Alright, quick update. We're about 6.5 hours later. It's wearing pretty well, but I would love to see how this wears in, you know, when it's warmer out, springy, summery, you know, and I didn't really like, you know, go through my all. It's okay. Initially I felt like it looked like I was wearing a mask, and that could have been the powder. The lipstick, I ate dinner maybe 4 hours ago, maybe a little more than 4 hours ago, and the lip was already messed up from there. As a matter of fact, let's see how it wears when I reapply. Because you know how some liquid lipsticks, when you reapply, it feels like bleh. Like you have to take everything off and then do it again. Don't mind these like specks. My lips are just like mad crusty today. Ooh, and I might have had food on my face. If there was food on my face, my bad. I do not love this applicator. I feel like it's too stiff. Typically, I would just exfoliate my lips and put a balm on to get rid of the crustiness, but I was trying to make up today, so I just excuse the crustiness. Not bad when you reapply. It doesn't feel like, you know, like that thick kind of like, ugh, let me just take it off and do it all over again kind of feeling that you get with some of these liquid lipsticks. I like that it doesn't feel like there's anything on. I didn't feel like the lip was very drying. The lip is definitely not going to last through a meal, or maybe I'm just telling on myself the way that I eat. I'm getting some oil break through my T-zone, which is to be expected. I'm not gonna, you know, take points away. It's okay. Everything's okay. I did not use any primer on the eyeshadow, and I am very surprised at how well that stayed. There is some creasing, but that's pretty good without a primer, you know? I think maybe the foundation primer is what really kind of kept the look together on the face. Eyeliner, I can see that there's some liner already gone over there. Mascara is nice. Not completely in love with the concealer. I feel like the color, and it could also be the color of the powder, but it creased where I have creases. It's just okay. I'm like, it's just okay. Not like I'm completely wowed, not like I hate it. If this was, and see, here's the thing, because when you compare it to the fact that there are other really great drugstore brands out there like NYX, there's also Makeup Revolution is starting to really, you know, pop off. That's another one. So there's a lot of competition out there. So I kind of feel like, and you know, keep watching towards the end of this video, because I haven't swatched all of the foundations yet. I'm going to swatch those and give you my thoughts on the shade range. But for this being a line for people of color, I'd give it a B-. It's not bad. It's not great. It's okay, you know. There's some, you know, there's some pretty decent products in here, especially when you're looking at it based on what's at the drugstore. But then when I think about other brands that are at the drugstore that I personally would rather buy, you know, I feel like it's just, you know, like, because NYX Cosmetics just has so many great products and they're pretty similar in pricing. We're gonna go through the foundation shades. I'm disappointed in the concealer shades. But we're going to go through the foundation shades and the powder shades. We're going to swatch them, so stay tuned for my thoughts on that. But performance-wise, it's not bad. B-. So those are the light, medium, and tan shades. I do see a pretty good amount of undertones, and I'm gonna say that they did a good job on this part of the spectrum with the lighter shades, because a lot of times you'll see lighter shades that are super pink. Not to say that if you're a person of color that you can't have pink undertones, but you know, a lot of times we come in shades that are more olive or golden or yellow or red. So I would say that they did a pretty decent job on this end of the spectrum. Now let's move on to the darker shades, which I'm eyeballing and I'm like, but let's swatch before I make judgment. Okay, so here are the deeper shades. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 deeper shades. Now, deeper shades can be subjective because some people might have even lumped some of the tan shades as a deeper shade, but since these actually say deep, for argument purposes, these are deep shades. Now, these are not, I'm doing these in undertone order, just because it makes sense that way. It may not necessarily go in order of, shade depth. It'll go in order of shade depth within the undertones, but let's say, for instance, like this Deep Golden 2 looks darker than Deep Cool 1. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so these are good shades. Like, I know people that are these colors, these undertones. These aren't going to look ashy. Now, given that this is a line that's created specifically for people of color, this is a type of range of deeper shades that you would expect to see in a general market line. Now, when I say general market line, I mean brands that are geared to everyone. So we're talking the Too Faced, the Anastasia Beverly Hills, the gosh, I don't know why I can't think of, like the NARS, those kind of brands. But for a line that's geared towards people of color, I would expect more in the deeper end of the spectrum. There's so many jumps. Like, even now, again, this might be confusing to look at because I have it in undertone order and not in, you know, depth of color order. And I wanted to group it in undertone order just because it's so much easier to categorize the shades. But look at this. Deep Cool 1, Deep Cool 2, and then look at the huge dump to Deep Cool 3. And this is the only rich, deep shade that's in a line for people of color. Like, that to me is a little disappointing because we know that we all come in shades from Cafe au lait to espresso, you know? Like, and you gotta fill it in between too. So I give the deeper end, although these are good, these colors here that I'm looking at right now are good shades. They're not like, you know, gray. They're not like, oh my God, what person have you ever met that would be that color? These are good colors for these colors are good colors, but for a line for people of color, I would expect way more on the darker end. And even if they come with more colors later on, I'm still like, you know, it's like this was for people of color. So again, I go back to my point of who's CoverGirl. Well, I don't know if that's my point, but my question of who's CoverGirl's target market. Is it someone who skews younger? Because if more younger people, and when I say younger, I mean like maybe like high school age, because, you know, kids are wearing makeup, especially kids of color, are wearing makeup much earlier than we did. You know, and when I say we, I mean us 25 and up. If I had a kid, boy or girl, and they had a deeper complexion, and they had a drugstore budget, because I ain't giving my kids budget to be, anyway, that's another story. And they went and they saw this, I would feel like they felt like they didn't belong, you know? Because it's like, oh, I just have this one deep shade there. And that's not a, you know, that's not a good feeling when you're that age. And I mean, that's not to say that us older folks deserve to be like let down by cosmetic brands, but it's especially bad when you're younger. I hope that makes sense. Leave me a comment if you agree with me, if I'm making sense, and let me know what you think of this shade range. So here are the powder shades. We have a lot more in the deeper end than we do in the lighter end. I'm guessing that's because maybe a lot of the powders can work for a multitude of skin tones. But let's get some quick swatches. Some of these may be hard to see because of, you know, it's so close to the skin on my arm. Now these 4 shades, because they do tend to be warmer in undertone and bronzers are warmer in tone, these 4 shades could work as a bronzer depending on your skin tone. For my skin tone, this Deep Cool 4 is the closest to work as a bronzer. I also use this to contour. Technically you want something that's more on the bluer side to kind of get that shadow when you contour, but some of us can get away with something that's a little warmer. So I could use this to, it wouldn't be my first pick to contour. I have other shades already in my stash that I like to use for contour, and you can check out the description box for that. But if I had nothing else, you know, this could work as a contour, and it could kind of work as a bronzer as well. Okay, so now it's your turn to talk. What do you think of the CoverGirl Full Spectrum collection? Which products do you have your eyes on? Have you tried anything? Would you try anything? Talk to me about it in the comments. Make sure you follow me on social. I'll have the link in the description box. Also check out the description box for other pertinent information. And I'll see you fine folks in my next video. Bye, guys.